The Climate Project depicts 550 million years of Earth's climate history. The history is presented in 5 graphical panels. We're currently looking at the first panel. The first panel covers a period of time from the present on the far left to 20,000 years ago on the far right. Each of these panels will present a temperature graph, a sea level graph, and a carbon dioxide graph. Each graph is accompanied by its own gauge. The temperature gauge is here, sea level gauge is here. Carbon dioxide gauge is here. We can translate time using an X, which you see parked over here in the left edge. If I move forward in time, the X moves forward. It indicates the time period that we're looking at, in this case the period between 7,000 and 8,000 years ago. And there's a vertical black line superimposed over the X that allows you to see at that point in time what the values would have been for sea level and carbon dioxide. There's a small picture-in-picture type video showing plate tectonic activity. As time goes back, you'll be able to see the continents change position on the Earth. There are also some pop-ups that will advise of certain geological events. In this case, we're being informed that we're currently in an ice age and that Antarctica and Greenland both have an ice sheet. I'm going to navigate to the beginning of the second panel. This panel covers 980,000 years from 20,000 years ago on the far left to 1 million years ago on the far right. I'll mention that the current geologic period and epoch represented by the time period will be displayed in the lower right corner of each panel. I'll navigate to the beginning of the third panel. This panel covers 4.5 million years from 1 million years ago on the far left to 5.5 million years ago on the far right. I'll navigate to the beginning of the fourth panel. This panel covers 60.5 million years from 5.5 million years ago on the far left to 66 million years ago on the far right. Finally, I'll navigate to the beginning of the fifth panel. This panel covers a period of time of 484 million years from 66 million years ago on the far left to 550 million years ago on the far right. I'll mention that in the previous 4 panels the X that translates the temperature curve was red. In this panel it's green, so it shows up better against this red temperature graph. As was the case in the first panel and would be the case in all in-between panels, I can translate time and move the X along the temperature curve, again giving you the opportunity to evaluate at different periods of time where the sea level was and the carbon dioxide levels were. While working in these panels, I have a little alignment tool that I can use as needed. If I use a keyboard shortcut, Ctrl-Alt-R, I can display a tool that will give me a horizontal line that I can move around and place on the center of the X. That way I can look over to the, let's say, the temperature graph here and see where that falls on its temperature gauge, in this case about 12.5 degrees Fahrenheit above today's average. Today's average is represented by this black line going through 0. Likewise, I can move the horizontal line down to a point on the sea level graph here, follow it over and see that at this point in geologic history, sea level was a little bit lower than the current value. Current value is represented as the 0 value on the sea level gauge. Finally, if I move the tool up to the peak of the CO2 chart, which is over here, following it across, we're looking at about 6,800 parts per million for carbon dioxide values, with the current value being about 410 parts per million. And when I no longer need to work with this little horizontal line, I can close it or hide it. But before I do, I'll also point out that I can simultaneously display a vertical line if I want to look at 2 points at the same time. Like for instance, maybe I'm interested in this point right here. I could move the lines over to where that crosses the vertical and I'll grab the horizontal and bring it down. And now I can see that if I move the X over to there, and let's do that carefully, there he is. He's at the point, and I wanted to take a look at that point in time 480 million years ago, and it looks like we had a temperature of about 8 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than today. Sea level is up here. Sea level looks like it was 375 meters higher than today. Carbon dioxide appears to be approximately 4,000 parts per million. When I no longer are interested in using the tools, I can hide them again using Ctrl-Alt, and they're no longer in my field of view.